Hey guys, so I mentioned that the tripod is back at my house. There's a metal bar here. I'm doing something crazy, but if you focus up, you should be able to follow along and find out what you need. So the first set of problems, these are going to be on our quiz tomorrow. Identify these different things in each of these expressions. So when I first look at this, 7n plus 5, coefficients, that's our first thing. And that's always the number in front of the variable that we're going to multiply by. So for us, that coefficient is going to be 7. And the constant is something that's not going to change. So if n becomes 1, this term changes. N is 2, this term changes. But plus 5 is always going to be there. So your constant will be 5. Your variable, that's the letter, guys. That's what can change. That's going to be n. The number of terms, 5 is a term and 7n is a term. So we have 2 total. For number 2, I'll just say right now I can see I have 3 terms, so I might just answer that right away. My coefficients. So I got to find the variables first. Maybe I'll do that first. I've got y and p. Now remember in class we mentioned that p squared is not a variable, it's just p. They'll never tell you p squared, they'll tell you p. My constant there, what's the number that will always be there no matter what variables I have? It's 6. And then coefficients, so I had y and p were my variables, so 3 and 11 are my coefficients, the numbers in front. So that's how we kind of indicate those. Solving 5 squared, you got to know that that's 2 5s multiplied. 3 to the 4th is 4 3s multiplied. So 5 times 5, 25. 3 times 3 is 9. Go slowly with this. This 3 times 3 is 9. So now I have 9 times 9, 81. Evaluate when n's got these wild things. In class I had mentioned you guys got to change up 8. The order is not going to work. So it becomes nmc squared minus 300.3. So I want to rewrite each of these, just changing out that variable. Put in 10, so I'll say 4 times 10 minus c. What is c? 4. Did I do this right? Yeah. So I have 40 minus 4, that's going to give me 36. Number 6, 100 plus m squared. M squared, 15 squared. That's going to be 15 times 15, which is 225. 100 plus 225 is 325. Man, some of these are complicated. The good news is the quiz is way less complicated than this. I'm going to rewrite everything in order. 3, 4 squared plus 4.6. 4 squared first, that's 16, so now I have 3 times 16 plus 4.6. And then 16 times 3 is 48. I stack it like this. I put a decimal 0, and I'm going to get a 6, the decimal, 12, 1, 52, 52.6. Awesome. All right, we got 10. We've got 15, and we have 4 squared minus all that. So you might need the backside of your paper for this, but 4 squared, I do that first. That's going to be 16. And I can do these two right now. 10 times 15 is 150. Man, this is a really big number. So 150 times 16, whatever that is, and then minus 300.3. That ought to be, man, I should have done some different numbers, huh? Obviously, this is a bad setup, but I wanted to challenge you guys. 0, 30, 900, and then I'm going to do my tens place over here. I got a 0, I got a 0, and a 1, 5. Add those together, you should get 2,400. So I really have 2,400 minus 300.3. Okay, you will not have anything this complicated on our test tomorrow, FYI. So I come through and I put a decimal. Cannot do it all the way out here, so I go to 3, and I go to 10, which becomes a 9. Go to 10, which becomes a 9, and you become a 10. 10 minus 3 is 7, 9 minus 0 is 9, 9 minus 0 is 9. We have a 0 there, so I should be getting 2,099.7. That would have been an error if I wasn't careful. 2,099.7. Okay, some of these are easy, some of them are hard. We have quotient, we have times, we have fewer than, and we have difference. So those tell us what the operations are. 20 in F divided by, quotient is a weird word, so it's a weird operation. So it should be 20 divided by F. P 5 times. So I have 5 times P. And we talked about this in class. I should just make it like this with the coefficient. That's the best way to say it, 5P. M fewer than 7. So this is the tricky one for a subtraction. I really want you to go slow. It's either M minus 7 or 7 minus M. So what we want to do is test a number out. Let me try it. If I say a 10 here, well, say it before you come look over here. 10 fewer than 7. Well, that's like having 7 and then losing 10, isn't it? And that goes below 0, and we're not ready for that. So that means that 10 is not going to work here when I say it, so I want to change it and make it a smaller number. If I say 3 fewer than 7, well, that's like 4, isn't it? So now that I've said it, I would say 7 minus 3 is what I basically did. And I keep that 7 there, so I'll say 7 minus M is the one I should choose. So notice the order switches. We talked a lot in class how it's complicated. You have to try things out to be more sure about it. But what is being subtracted from what number is kind of the way to figure that out. So we want to say 7 minus M. That is what M fewer than 7 really is. And finally, the difference of W and 9. When they just have difference, they're not telling you what's being subtracted, so you have to just assume that this is first and this is second. So in this case, I would say W minus 9. There's no rule for subtraction to say it's always the variable first or always the number first. You have to try different things out and really understand what's being subtracted from what to get your right solution. Okay? So, email if you still have an issue, try to get back to you, but you might even just post to the discussion board your thinking, and maybe another student can get back to you guys if you still have questions. Good luck on the quiz tomorrow.